Okay, so we're gonna go on to our next speaker. And our next speaker is okay, I'm gonna try to not butcher the speaker's name. Wow, this is gonna be tough for me. I am so sorry. I'm going to try my best. And I'm sure you're gonna be able to correct me. Kgothatso? Ngako? Is that correct? Yeah? Yes, thank you. Okay, I got that right. Woo. All right, so Kgothatso, right? Okay, he is, yes, you're moving ahead, guys. He is a software developer born and raised in Pretoria, South Africa, working on projects that make Bitcoin more accessible in his community. And today he's going to talk about Lightning on feature phones. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. So yeah, Kgothatso Ngako from South Africa, and yeah, I'm going to talk about Machankura. Machankura is basically a company focused on giving people the ability to send and receive Bitcoin without an internet-connected device. Right? And yeah, so this is me. To those who do not know, I grew up as a rapper. Right? As a young man, I would stutter a lot. So as a teenager, I started rapping because my brother was rapping. And hence, I stopped stuttering because you cannot rap and stutter at the same time. Right? But yeah, a lot of the stuff that I learned as a young adult from rap music, how to be independent, and so on and so forth. So today, I would like to talk about hip hop and how I think Bitcoin would follow a similar trajectory to hip hop in terms of global adoption and such, right? And yeah, so this is the first flyer for one of the first hip hop shows ever held in Brooklyn, New York. Mike was telling me that he's from Brooklyn, so I don't know how old he was in 1973, but this is what would get sent out to people to attend. And basically, if you went to a show, this is what you would be presented with. Guys really pushing their own system with second-hand equipment, and everyone wants to have a party. Right? And today, fast forward, well, not today, like 2 years back, but today we have Rolling Loud, which is one of the biggest hip-hop festivals in the world. And of course, as you can see, we went from such a basic flyer to more artists, and we went from just a one-day, few-hour event to a few days event with a lot of artists. And if you go to Rolling Loud, this is what you would see, right? A bigger audience. And of course, hip-hop is a global phenomenon right now. So the question is, what does this have to do with Bitcoin anyway, right? And for me, if you want to learn about that, you have to listen to a podcast I did with Mary on the Newcast, and I actually address it point by point why I think even the Bitcoin community or the most prominent Bitcoiners are reminding me quite a lot of the hip-hop community, right? Even the things they're trying to address, having longevity, not just being short term, and yeah, figuring out the hard things so that you actually move forward, right? And yeah, I'm basically going to use hip hop as an analogy of how we get to being a global phenomenon where everyone adopts it in multiple countries, and yeah, regardless of however shunned it would look, right? So next slide is this is just a cover of an album we used to listen to in South Africa. It was released in 2000 or 2001, right? And this is effectively what drove my mind to Bitcoin subconsciously, right? This is a rap group called Cashless Society. And the name Cashless Society, interesting, right? 2000, why were rappers using that image as their icon, right? Why were rappers using the name Cashless Society all the way back in 2001? And basically, the group was formed in 1999, and the name Cashless Society sums up the crew via a double meaning. Cashless as in the plastic economic future of the modern world, and cashless in Africa, currently the poorest of the poor, right? So this is why, as a young man, I was like, oh damn, I'm gravitating to rap so much. I'm listening to all these conscious rap songs, and then Bitcoin happens, and I dive into the rabbit hole, and I feel right at home. Right? So this is for me why I feel like there's a huge parallel between hip hop and Bitcoin. And so then what do you do if you believe something has a future, right? Michael Saylor will tell you, you get the money and leave the casino, right? But ultimately, if you believe there's a future for something, you do not argue with somebody else. You set up the infrastructure to actually profit off of that shift, off of that transition. Right? Dr. Dre is a billionaire. Jay-Z is a billionaire. Kanye used to be a billionaire. I don't know if he's still a billionaire, but yeah. Ultimately, if there's a shift in how the world works and where the world is going, and you position yourself to move people away from where they are now and to where the future is going, you can make quite a lot of money. And well, yeah, just making the right moves. And this is also one of the most important images and graphics in hip hop history, right? So it was first used on a hip hop album. It's not really directly related to hip hop, but hip hop music is very explicit. Do not let your kids listen to hip hop music, parents. I only listen to hip hop because Kanye West released a song called Jesus Walks, and I could play it on the speakers, and my mother would not be telling me to switch off all that cussing because it sounded like a Christian song, basically, right? And though this is important because hip hop albums still maintained the explicit nature, right? And all they had to do was put the sticker on it, right? There is hip hop music that is not explicit, but it's missing something. There's clean versions of song. But if I feel like listening to 50 Cent rap about many men, many men, wish death upon me, Yahoo Kano, but whatever. I want the explicit version. I want the explicit version because I don't want to listen to 30 seconds of 50 Cent being censored because he's describing death in the most vivid ways that kids should not listen to. But I'm an adult right now, so I should listen to the explicit version, not the clean version. And that being said, Bitcoin companies, Bitcoin wallets need the sticker. Bitcoin is volatile, all these different things you can say about it. But you do not take away volatility, you do not take away all the things that make Bitcoin Bitcoin. You deliver the explicit version for Bitcoin so that people who adopt it can experience the explicit version of Bitcoin and understand that the clean version is not Bitcoin. Understand that the clean version of many men is not what 50 Cent wrote down. Cool. So yeah, let me see how much time I have because this might be part 2 of the slides. Oh yeah, I think I might have enough time. And this is basically the dream. How do we get Bitcoin adopted by these many people, right? How does the BTC retreat in 10 years and 20 years have these many people in attendance? How does Lightning Con by Neutron Pay, which was held last week in Vietnam, have these many people in attendance, right? So, of course, we look at history, right? That's the Jumpman logo. That is Michael Jordan. And you have to be intent if you want to be the best in the world or the greatest to have ever done it. The GOAT, as some would say. And ultimately, you look at what all the greatest people are doing and you do it too. Right? Yesterday, I had dinner with the Hotline Apparel and we were talking about how branding is important. Like, nothing beats seeing a Bitcoin logo on a wall and understanding that that's all except Bitcoin. Right? So we need more branding, and this is probably one of the most valuable brands in clothing ever. Right? So anyone knows what this is? So if you know Mandarin, this is Jordan in Mandarin, right? So this is a Chinese equivalent of Jordan, obviously a rip-off. Jordan suited for the thing, right? But at the end of the day, they captured the Chinese market using this image, which is oddly similar to the Jumpman logo over here, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, it's too late for Jordan in China because this is what people think when they think about Jordan in China, right? So sorry, Michael Jordan, you didn't get to China quick enough. And so this is a woman's side, there's quite a healthy amount of women in the audience. I'm happy to see that. Usually at crypto, Bitcoin, blockchain conferences, the attendance of women is quite low. And I believe we need to stress and be intentional with the attendance of women at Bitcoin activities, Bitcoin events, and Bitcoin apps as well. And this is something hip hop did really well from an AE point as well. As you can see, ladies get a discount, so that in attendance you just don't have a lot of guys and not enough women, because women at the end of the day are 50% of around 50% of the population. So if you are not doing enough to accommodate the at least 50% of the population, then it becomes harder for you to reach that global audience or become a global phenomenon. So here's a phone. The guy who invented this, the cell phone technology, the phone technology, Alexander Campbell, was probably high, and he was like, I want to talk to somebody who's not even here. Right? And he invented the phone. Right? So now the issue with the phone is the person who you're calling has to be able to receive the call. Otherwise, you can't call them. Right? And this is where Hal Finney comes in. Right? He ran Bitcoin. This is the famous running Bitcoin tweet. And until he started running Bitcoin, Satoshi had nobody to send Bitcoin to. Right? Bitcoin is a payment technology. Right? This is the first Bitcoin transaction. Bitcoin requires a payment network. This is the Lightning Network, and in all its glory. Right? So ultimately, you need somebody to receive the payment on the other end, and the more or bigger the network is, the more people will use it as a payment technology. And yeah, this is Machankura. I have like a part 3 of the slides, but I might want to do a demo with the remaining time. With the remaining 5 minutes. So allow me to check something. I'll keep the slide on stage while I switch my phone on into the screen sharing on that side. Can you tell the slide, please? And okay, cool. So demo is gonna be me just waiting for my phone to do all the magic things that it needs to do for me to join the call. And if you have questions, just in case this demo doesn't go well, you know how demos never go well. I'll probably either go into part 3 of the thing magic. Oh, that's me right there. So cool. Wait. Phone work. No, don't show my face to all these people. I'm trying to be a pseudonym, right? Okay. Only hosting share. Can I get hosting rights? And we can return the slides in the meantime, and maybe I can talk about the other stuff, and then can I get the slides in the meantime? Okay, cool. Maybe I can share now. Only those can share. Slides. Oh, my bad. I'm trying to do 2 things at the same time. Only those can share again. So basically, this is my QR code lightning address. Wonderful technology. Shout out to Andre from Zibidi. Shout out to Fear Jeff, who actually worked on the LNURL stuff. And if you want to send me some Bitcoin, that's what you can do. A lot of pouch stores actually use the Lightning address. And I can pay a lot of pouch stores using the USSD interface as well, because they have, what's the word I'm looking for? They have a Lightning address. And I see that Pouch implemented Light 21, which is something I'm going to add as well, so that on the USSD interface, I can use the pesos as a currency, right? And let me see, okay, I'm not able to share my screen on the Zoom call, so I'm just going to go through this. And basically, these are all the other stats I looked at as well when I was pushing this out. Individuals using the internet in Africa, only 30% of the population uses internet. Right? In the Philippines, it's around 50%, but from a conversation I was having earlier, apparently a lot of people connect to other people's internet connections. So the internet penetration is higher through proxy in the Philippines than actually the reported 50%. In South Africa, the stat is at 70%. But the more interesting thing is that there's quite a lot of people with mobile cellular connections, right? And if we look at all the stats, South Africa has like 1.5 cell phones for each person in the country, and the Philippines has like 1.45 connections for each person. And Africa, well, it's almost one cell phone or one cell phone subscription for each person in the country. Of course, other people have multiple devices, so the stat is a little skewed, but generally speaking, if you implement something, what you want to do is actually put it on a cellular connection. And this year, there's a SIM card. You can store private keys on a SIM card, right? And this is SIM overlay, so this is going to be the next version of Machankura, and users will be able to self-custody even without an internet-connected device just by storing the private keys on the SIM card. Basically, that is me, right? So if you want to see a demo, you can find me in the audience. Return that logo real quick. I just wanted to talk about one more thing. You can find me in the audience and I'll show you the demo in person. Demos never work on stage. So basically what is happening here is this is the logo I designed, an old telephone within a Bitcoin B outline, right? And ultimately the Bitcoin B also looks like a phone booth. Right? And for me, what we can do is use all the technology that already exists, right, to actually get Bitcoin in people's hands. We don't have to reinvent any wheel. Just figure out what is it that you could run Bitcoin on, like a toaster. If you must figure out how to run Bitcoin on a toaster, do that, and yeah, then we will be in a position to actually make Bitcoin a global phenomenon. And yeah, that's my talk. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, Kgothatso. I actually was looking forward to hearing you sing and rap, because I didn't know you were a rapper, so it was